Some things happen only once in a lifetime. And this is one of them. On May 26th, Cher, Bette Midler, and Tina Turner will perform together for one night.
Double A, your voice is a dream.
I'm just a very fortunate guy to be here.
I wish everyone could hit their lines like that.
You're too kind. Voiceover work, it's great if you can get it. My kids' friends used to say, boy, speaking to your dad, it's like speaking to God. And I went to a voiceover coach and got into this profession. What a city. I just love New York and the things that one can do here.
From New York, the greatest city in the world, it's The Late Show with David Letterman.
I found something kind of disturbing earlier today. It was somebody said, oh, there's a group of your fans. There's like a fan club. Really? Here? And they said, yes. Out on 53rd Street.
Oh, yeah.
And I took a look, and I was, well, here, can we take the camera right out through the door? Here they are out on 53rd Street. We've been on the air almost 25 years. There they are.
Boy, oh boy, acting is great work if you can get it. I mean, who would ever realize that I'd be back in New York and becoming an actor? And now the Letterman Show is calling. Here's one of my favorite groups of all time, and I'm taking my wife on this day to see this show. So to listen to the words, listen to what they're saying. I live on this street. A Bronx boy living on Central Park South now. Starts here. I live close to Broadway, and I went down to see Dustin Hoffman in The Death of the Salesman. And what a story about Willie Loman, the salesman who just went and hit bottom. That didn't happen, fortunately, for me. I inherited my mother's drive and energy and loved selling, and I'm still doing it to this day. But now I'm back in the Big Apple, and this weekend, the bullseye is on me, the Double A. We're having the 20th anniversary of our racquetball championship at the Parker Meridian.
Oh, okay.
And 23 gunfighters from all over the country are coming in to do battle.
Get out of here.
I'm a 99 to 1 shot.
99 to
At
1.
this stage, I've been playing 43 years.
Really? Oh, that's a blessing.
It is a blessing, but the young kids are going to do this to me. They're going to earth, wind, and then what are they going to do?
Exactly. Everybody's fired for real, yeah.
They're coming in from all over the country, Texas, North Carolina, D.C. They're coming in to take on the Double A in my home court in the island of Manhattan. Good Lord, look out for the Double A, because I'm going to need it. First time I saw Times Square was when my father took me to meet his two brothers at the Horn and Hardart Automat on 42nd Street in Times Square. And you would put nickels in the wall and get out hot dogs with baked beans and spaghetti. And it was like I was in my glory. I picture my father's father was told by his parents, just like in Anna Tefka in Fiddler, go make a new life for yourself, son. And at 15, he went from Russia to England and then waited for a tramp steamer to come to America. And his name was Abraham Alperowitz. When he got to Ellis Island, the Irishmen who were the watchdogs and welcomed the immigrants, "What's your name?" So he went Abraham Alperowitz, Abraham Albert. Next. In race 6 at Aqueduct, a $1 daily double wheel, dollar exacta box 2, 3, 4. And the final bet is a $1 exacta box in race 6 at Aqueduct. We're getting up to the Bronx, where I went to public school, West 178th Street, 3 miles, and you merge onto the Cross Bronx Expressway, exit 4B toward Rosedale Avenue, Bronx River Parkway, 1 mile. I lived in Pelham Parkway from 1940 until I got married in 1954. This was like a shtetl. This was like a 99.9% Jewish community that spanned 6 or 7 blocks. Pelham Parkway in the Bronx. I lived where that first fire escape is, on the ground floor. This alleyway was where men would go like this, old timers with big bags on their back. I cash clothes. I cash clothes. And they would come down this alleyway. I cash clothes. There were men who would buy clothing for $1 and sell it for $3. It was the tough times. Wow. I used to love a hot dog with lots of sauerkraut and mustard, a Dr. Brown celery tonic. Wow. My father got tickets on his business route to a Bond rally at the Polo Grounds. And they had some stars, and one of them was Milton Berle. Came out in the playing field, Uncle Milty. And there I am, finally, eventually selling hot dogs and cold beer. Not only when the Yankees were away, the Giants were in, but sometimes there was a Negro baseball league. And I used to sell a lot of beer at those games. Satchel Paige was pitching one time. We would play stickball on the street. 2 sewers or 3 sewers. 2198 Kruger Avenue is where we lived. That's where my mother and father moved to. And I think they paid initially $40 a month rent, which was quite a bit of money for them to afford, for this 1-bedroom apartment on the ground floor, and it was apartment P as in Peter. The memories of my father earning a small amount of money as a mailman. He needed some do-re-mi. I was working delivering pharmacy orders and chicken orders at 12 and 13, but my mother went out and was selling millinery, dresses, and then got the job at Macy's. And every time that she came home, there was like a story, a great story, and I listened to her enthusiasm. And I said, oh my goodness, does she love what she's doing? And I, with my mother's high voltage energy in selling, here I am. Here I am, folks. Can you imagine the memories of this apartment? Boy. And they didn't have too much money, but they were millionaires. They had 47 years of respect and love. So that was great for me. There was a drugstore here that I delivered orders for. Wow, wow. Jake LaMotta, the middleweight champ of the world, lived in Pelham Parkway. And he would walk down, we would see him with his wife. She was the most curvaceous looking woman. And he'd be walking, she was taller than him, walking towards to see the RKO Pelham movie that was playing. Wow, what a neighborhood. This place means a great deal to me. Yankee Stadium, home of the champions. Thurman Munson, Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle, the double M, Joe the Yankee Clipper, number 5 DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig, what a brave class act, and the one and only the Babe. I'll show you where I came from the Bronx to get hired. The lineup, like on the waterfront. We stood in this courtyard. They would come out, and all these Irish kids would be lining up to get in to sell and make money. You would say to yourself, come on, let me hear the name Albert. Come on, I'm ready, willing, and able to, come on, hire me. Get me in. And when you heard your name, it was like winning the New York lottery. You're gonna work today. And then you put on your white shirt and pants and a hat with the sign on the hat what you're selling. Hot dog 35 cents, cold beer 75 cents. The Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Giants back when I was 15 and 16 years of age, which was 47 and 48. It was like a rivalry like the Mets and the Yankees now, or whatever, the Red Sox and the Yankees. And the Polo Grounds, where I also worked, had a gate that would open at 9 a.m. So all the visiting fans from Brooklyn and all over New York, they came in. It was a capacity crowd. And I had the idea, being a salesperson, that, my goodness, Max Belsky, who had the main gate on scorecards, he got all the business. I would start a little stand near his with seat cushions, which were a tough sell. But I felt 9 o'clock in the morning, people are going to wait 3 or 4 hours and sit on a hard chair until the game started. So I took on seat cushions with a creative idea. Only a few more left, folks. Get your seat cushions now. And all of a sudden, all the seat cushions were gone that they had stocked in the Polo Grounds. And the owner, Frank Stevens, sent a truck to Yankee Stadium to bring over a whole slew of seat cushions that I could sell. And I was told that I had a record, 469 seat cushions. The only problem, when I got home that night, I couldn't talk from yelling and screaming. But it was a great feeling to be noticed by Frank Stevens, who heard that there was someone selling seat cushions and they had to go to get more. And some days I felt sad because I wasn't hired, and I had to put a nickel or a dime in the subway and get back to Pelham Parkway. But every weekend I got hired. This is where the lineup was. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just didn't have any real direction. Then one day, when I was 19, my friend Ace Cohn came into the pool room and said, Eggy, why don't the two of us go out and get a job, a real job? And we went to the New York State Employment Office. And they gave me an interview at a firm called United Merchants. And they hired me for $40 a week, January the 9th, 1952, to trace lost shipments in the traffic department. I was excited to tell my mother when she asked me, well, Arthur, how was your first day on the job? I said, Ma, there's a company cafeteria, and I had a 5-course meal for 69 cents. She said, never leave that company, Arthur. The garment district was filled with hand trucks and people and fabric and just, it was a healthy, powerful industry. And I went from tracing lost shipments to cutting swatches to carrying the salesman in New York's bags. In 1954, Sam Greenwald, who was in charge of the out-of-town sales force, looked at me one day and said, "Arthur, come into my office." "Yes, Mr. Greenwald." "How would you like to go with your young wife to Toronto and replace Gil Brunneman, who we're promoting to the Dallas office?" "How much are you going to give me, Mr. Greenwald?" $5,000 a year. My mind was saying, $5,000 a year? My father's working for the United States Postal Service, and he's not making more than $3,200. So I felt like an instant success. The garment center in New York was the fashion capital of the world, and I was sent to a minor league market. But to me, it was a major league move. To get out, there were 40 salesmen in the New York office. There was just Arthur Albert heading the Toronto office, and it was a big deal for me. I was just a hungry New York kid with that New York accent, and they took to me. I was sincere. I showed the line of textiles. I took rejection and I took success equally, and it was a tough business, but I loved it. I had a great desire to continue what my mother was doing so well at Macy's and Herald Square, doing a fine job of selling. The only thing I knew about Toronto was they had a hockey team called the Toronto Maple Leafs, because in those days I was a New York Ranger fan. But the moment that I got to Toronto, boy oh boy, did I see hockey at its finest. No one, there were 6 teams in the NHL, and no one wore masks. The goalie on the Detroit Red Wings, Terry Sawchuk, he looked like a prize fighter because he stopped many slap shots with his head. And then I had the joy of watching the world champion Montreal Canadiens. One man who was a left winger, a tall toughie named Bert Olmsted, he became a role model with me in my life because he just earned his dollars, his keep. He used to nail players. They used to nail him digging for the puck in the corner to see who was going to be the winner of that fight. Sometimes Bertie Olmsted got knocked down, and this son of a gun, he just got up and took those ice scrapings off his uniform and went back and knocked the other guy down, passed the puck to Maurice Rocket Richard or Bellevaux, who were flying down the ice. And they nailed Toronto for years. I missed every Thanksgiving. The company gave every employee in New York a turkey. So I asked the New York office, what about me in Toronto? They told me to go into the woods of Ontario and shoot my own turkey. The company wanted me to do $250,000 the first year. And I was raw, but I was like a rookie that wanted to make out very well. I did $385,000 the first year, $606,000 the second year, and $1.2 million the third year, and the president of the entire company congratulated me when I got back to New York. And so in 1963, I left Toronto, Canada in May, 50-degree weather, to get to St. Louis, Missouri, 99 degrees in the shade. When I moved to St. Louis, it was the suburbs, and out in the suburbs was a melting pot, a beautiful new building called the JCCA, the Jewish Community Center. And it was a wonderful place that had all kinds of activities. Inside the JCCA were four-wall handball courts. And all of a sudden I'm looking down one day and I'm seeing a couple of guys playing with a sawed-off tennis racket. Racquetball, 1963. I remember vividly the first time I went on the court. My opponent was Bob Adelson. He was a southpaw, and he beat the dickens out of me. And in my mind, I said, one day I'm just going to beat this guy like he has just beaten me. And I did. It took me 9 years to get to a point where I was on the original amateur. They didn't have a professional league at that time. I was one of the players that was on a amateur team that traveled from city to city to play in racquetball tournaments.
The one thing that was really magical about racquetball was that everything started at St. Louis, the mecca of all the great players, the mecca of the biggest tournaments. And the Jewish Community Center in St. Louis was the place. I mean, there was just a number of players, professional players and stuff that came, and they knew that if they wanted to get the best games, they had to come to the J.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I went to play racquetball, and that's where I met, you know, Artie Elver, and one of the gems of people I've ever met in my life. And back in those days, when we were just learning the game, you had already had the understanding of the game.
Yes.
I had my ups and downs. I had some flaws. My game was rough, but Artie took the time and got on the court with us, showed us how to play, and Artie was I remember was competitive. If you were going to beat him, you were going to have to be better than him.
It was a mecca of racquetball in the world. And Marty's mother, at the age of 8.5, brought this handsome little freckle-faced kid in to the court with me. And then he became a shining star.
There, the ball rolls. That's the way Hogan plays.
I never played racquetball because I thought I was ever going to make money or make a living or this, that, and whatever, because back in those days there was no money.
No
tour, none.
Nothing.
I remember the very first time I won $50 playing racquetball. It was at Aurora, Illinois. In the early stages of racquetball, they had qualifying and then a round of 64, a round of 32, and at the round of 16 is where they started to pay. I lost in the round of 16, but I won $50. I won $50. I thought I didn't need, I put that in the bank, I'm done. I've got more than enough money. I'm a gazillionaire. Because at the same time I won that $50, I was working in a Chinese restaurant washing dishes for $1.40 an hour. So when I made $50 playing racquetball, I mean, come on, trifecta.
Multi-millionaire.
Powerball.
I love it.
No question, the greatest rivalry in the history of racquetball has been me and Charlie Brumfield, because Charlie Brumfield was the first super pioneer of professional racquetball. He was the face of racquetball in the early 70s. He was a real surgeon, I should say, out there on the court in every way. He was a master of psychology and psyching out and this and that, whatever, but a tremendous player. And he literally ruled the game because he had such a mental dominance over everybody. So our matchup, our confrontations were epic because we were so drastically different. Here was a well-established 27, 28-year-old in his prime, an attorney, coming in against a brash 16, 17-year-old. That man, I was coming out with both guns firing, baby. You know what? I was swinging I was going to swing until I hit you, and he was going to he was going to jab and move back and stay away.
My father took me to prize fights, and in a prize fight, you see just two men. And may the better man emerge triumphantly. No excuses, you give it your all.
I was the kind of competitor that when it looked like I could go in for a kill or a winner, I was going for it.
That's where I spotted this. This was some coming.
There's the big forehand. There's Hogan stepping up and short hopping the ball. Wow. Hogan will get that ball. Power and quickness to take an early lead.
I remember when he was that shining star and was hitting shots, 140, 150 mile an hour serves.
How fast is that ball going when he hits it like that, Hank?
When Marty hits it like that, he's been clocked upwards of 160 miles an hour, which is an amazing speed no matter what sport you're playing. But in the area that it's generated in a racquetball court, he's generating 160 miles an hour, only about 5 feet away from the front wall.
Oof.
And I was so proud of this kid because he came into the J locker room. He'd come back to St. Louis after winning tournaments in this city and that. And you'd see him in the locker room at the J Men's Health Club. And he was still that same happy-go-lucky kid. And there he was. He was number one. And we had him in St. Louis. Didn't take long to watch this kid become like a Mickey Mantle from the Midwest, ambidextrous, backhander, which I never had, and he was playing all these other young Turks, you know, Halisha, Surratt, Zuckerman, Doug Cohn, Benny Colton, and all these kids from the Mecca of racquetball where he was number one. They just wanted to tear him apart.
I think Artie was really a part of that first generation. The early pioneers of racquetball really were. You were part of that group. You were part of the Marlo Phillips group, the Steve Schneider group. How about that name? Steve Schneider. You know, him and Marlo Phillips, that was like a rivalry.
Like Ali and Fraser.
It was, at the J.
Exactly.
It was. And I think the defining match for me is when I won my first national title and I beat Charlie Brumfield in Michigan. A lot of people even a couple years prior to that thought I was the best player in the world. But until you really get the confirmation of winning the title, you have to get the confirmation.
Yeah.
You have to get the stamp. And the stamp is really doing it. Because you know what? I mean, you could be the best ever, but unless you really actually win the best in the biggest events, there's a confirmation on that end of it.
Surratt never could take out Brumfield, who was a lawyer smart, but Marty took out Brumfield like Surratt couldn't. Yeah. And once that occurred, boom, watch out, racquetball world. He had it all. It was an all-around game and youth and firepower. So, here I am at 31 years of age, 32, moving on, and here's this young up-and-coming upstart. He changed the game. My best year in sales in the textile industry took place in Missouri. And I know I did 1 year over $4 million of business. And that was a highlight for me, especially when I think back to Toronto and they're wanting me to do $250,000. I never knew the abilities that I had as a salesperson when I was doing the cushions or hot dogs or working my way up from peanuts to cold beer. If you're not ready for rejection in sales, pass. Go become an accountant. From rejection, dark clouds do go away, and then an order comes and sunshine follows. Thank goodness, lessons that I've learned from Bertie Olmsted digging for the puck, getting knocked down. Get yourself up. Dust yourself off and go dig for that puck. And you'll score lots of goals. That was a great gift that I received in Toronto, Canada.
In New York, in the very heart of Manhattan, framed by skyscraper apartment houses, lies Central Park, an 850-acre oasis of trees and lakes, of parks and paths, of glorious country in the midst of the steel and concrete of the world's greatest city. On one side, the towering facade of a bustling, noisy metropolis. On the other, the peace and quiet of the park.
So exciting that you can live right across the street in this concrete jungle, and here we are where it's peaceful. And this is the heartbeat street, in my opinion, in the world. Come on, let's walk down. Jackie Mason lives in this building, and I was introduced to him about a year ago by a mutual friend, and I invited him to play racquetball as my guest down the street. And he said, "What, are you crazy? I'm gonna get a heart attack." That was that. This is one of my favorite places. A lot of the waiters have challenged me in racquetball, and they all know me, and I love, teaching them a few things or two. I'm looking at one of the great ones. In my day, it was Joe DiMaggio. And then who replaced Joe DiMaggio? From the middle of America, Mickey Mantle, who I met. At the end of his career, he was here in the restaurant one day. And I said, "Double M," they call me the Double A. And I left New York to go to the Midwest, and you left Oklahoma to come to my city. I'd like to invite you, Mickey, to be my guest and play racquetball with me at the Parker Meridian. And he said to me, "I'm sorry, sir, my knees are shot." We shook hands, big neck, red face, powerful handshake. Wow. I had such a great life in racquetball. I was well known in St. Louis, and now I'm coming back to New York City. Racquetball in New York was just getting underway, really. It was raw. Hello, my sweet baby. Say hello. Chihuahua, meet some of my racquetball champions. I needed to find a club, and sure enough, a club was opening up at the Parker Meridian Hotel. I joined, and I made my mark there. I was the first club champion. Everyone looked at my gray hair, and they thought I was a piece of cake. So I came back to New York 25 years later, and one of the original guys in racquetball, and I won the first club championship in my club La Raquette. Here it is. From what I've learned in the Show Me State, the beginning of racquetball, to bring that back to my native New York, and now find myself teaching young men and women, is a joy. It's like winning the lottery that I can pass that torch on to these kids and teach them good health habits exercise.
Every day I would come here and I would stand right here and look at everyone playing, and sort of like got fire in my soul for the game, and I decided, okay, the time has come where I really want to play this game. So I talked to AA and the manager of the club, and I was like, I'm ready now.
How did you find this young man?
Oh, I love him. He's a great teacher. Tricks me continuously on the court.
I would hope that she achieves her goal, that she will beat AA one day. U.S. youth has to be served.
I am definitely going to beat him one day.
Get it out. Get the stress out on the island of Manhattan with AA. It's a gift. My father took me out of the Bronx to the first prize fight in Madison Square Garden in 1944. And I think there was a wonderful method to his mind. He took me to see the lightweight champion of the world. He was a shoe shine boy in Augusta, Georgia. His name was Bo Jack, and he had a bolo punch. And he was vicious. And who was he fighting from Brooklyn, New York? A Jewish kid named Morris Reef, who came in with purple trunks and the Star of David. And that memory of 4 rounds of a severe beating that Morris Reef took from the lightweight champion of the world, but the thrill of sitting next to my father, the kid never went down. At Yankee Stadium, I was working my way up the ladder from peanuts and popcorn and scorecards, and then they one day told me, when Joe DiMaggio was playing, AA, they called me then Albert. Eggy was my nickname, but the Irishman called me Albert. You have the upper right field grandstands, you're going to sell hot dogs. They gave you the hot dogs in a steaming vat. I mean, the smoke would come out. They gave you a prong, a large prong, mustard on the corner of the basket. It was like a wooden basket. And I was sent out to get your hot dog and roll here. You know, upper grandstands in Yankee Stadium is like this. The aisles are like this. And one guy in the next to the last row went like this. Hey, 4 eyes. And he went like this. So I looked up. I said, 20 hot dogs. 20 from 60 boiling hot dogs. So I went up and down the stairs, people's legs, until I got to that row. And I said, 20, sir? He says, no, give me 2. Life, young hustler wanting to make out well. So I had 58 hot dogs left, and I was going down the aisle. God is my witness. Hot dog and roll, get your hot dog and roll. And probably one of the Yankees got up, and a guy got excited, and I didn't see his foot. And I felt myself falling. And then it was a matter of my life or the stinking, steaming vat of 58 unkoshered hot dogs. Let it go. Out of the sky, mustard hit a guy in the head. And hot dogs, squishy. And I had to go back to my boss, Jim Kelly, with mustard and hot. So, what happened, Albert? I tripped, boss. A guy's leg. Pick them all up. Pick them all up. We're going to cook them again. You're going to go out and sell them.
I'm Seth Farber. We are here for the 20th anniversary AA tournament. We are playing some racquetball today in the 20th annual AA tournament.
Why did I come all the way from Texas? I mean, that's almost a rhetorical question. It's all about AA.
AA. He's one of the superest people that you possibly can meet.
It's really AA that created this whole thing.
We're just meeting him for the first time. I'm a little overwhelmed.
We all looked up to AA.
20th anniversary. It's AA's to lose.
Eddie Fink came up from Houston, Texas.
Hello, how are you? Hi. Gangers.
Good to see you. Let's come in. We're used to everything on one level, not all this up and down.
It starts off really friendly because everyone hasn't seen each other for a while.
I'm honored that you're all here. And this is the healthiest thing that I've ever been involved in, and I'm blessed now that I teach young men and women on the island of Manhattan. To look at me, I'm a dinosaur. Here I am 43 years later playing consistently, and if you want to be well, if you want to be healthy, get that poison, that stress out of your system by playing our sport. I feel blessed that I'm passing it on, and it's a great gift.
Who's going to win?
But last year you played well. Who did you?
I played pretty well. I beat Mike, but I lost to
Rohan? Oh yeah, I remember that.
I think if Seth's on top of his game, he's going to be the guy. He's the man to beat.
I'm Seth Farber, and I've been lucky enough to win the last 3 of these, and I'm going to try to win number 4 today. Everyone is loosening up, getting ready. It's only 10 in the morning now. Everyone is ready to go. One day a year. It's a really big day, so you see everyone getting a little bit pumped up right around now.
It's still a game where old and smart can once in a while be young and athletic.
This is the AA's, the way it works. We have 4 groups. There are 6 guys in each group, and you play everybody in your group according to this schedule.
I'm going to play the famous AA.
Yeah, well, yes.
A legend in his own time.
Yes.
What's your strategy? My strategy is not to take him lightly because he can't beat me.
Racquetball's a very simple game. It's serve and shoot. You can only score a point when you're serving.
Nice touch.
You have to get to the ball before it takes 2 bounces.
See that?
Games go to 15 points.
He should have left that ball way too high in the court.
Oh. You have one against the other, may the better man emerge triumphantly.
The score is tied up at 3-3.
Oh my God, that was unbelievable. Hogan,
unbelievable.
Hogan swung twice to hit that ball.
What a great rally. It is heated.
Great shot.
He finally put him away.
He's still out here playing. How old is he?
I don't even know how old is he. I don't think he's been telling the truth for 15 years, so no one really knows. AA, ¿cuántos años? Por favor.
Yeah, AA.
I was pushing And when you push instead of go with the zone, the flow, you lose.
That's true.
And he's a much better player. He's destined for stardom this trip.
I got enough. Each group gets a winner, and then in the afternoon, the winners of those four come over here and play the semifinal matches and the finals.
And then as the afternoon gets on, when we get toward the end of the day, it gets very intense, you know, because these people are here to compete and to win, and one person's going to win, one person's going to lose, and, you know, everyone's friends, but we want to win.
Well, the kill shot is the ultimate. It's the winning shot. It's the most difficult shot to hit. In a lot of sports are a game of errors. You know, the least amount of errors you make, the more success you'll have. But in racquetball, if you are good enough to execute winning shots, which is very difficult to do, you can obtain your own success. You don't have to rely upon your opponent's errors and misfortune in order for you to succeed. Perfecting and hitting consistent kill shots, that's the shot that separates the good from the great players.
Yeah. It's the knockout punch, Roger.
It is, it's the knockout.
It is, it's earth, wind, and then fire. I feel that the kill shot is if you're a submarine commander. When you say fire torpedo 1 and it's a kill shot, there's nothing greater. What a feeling. It's a boom. We're back here in New York City on the rooftop of the Parker Meridian Hotel. This is the home of our tournament. You know, there are 8 million stories going on here. I started way up in the Bronx, way up there. Now I'm here on the island of Manhattan, and I feel like I'm a co-star of an ongoing movie. Cecil B. DeMille couldn't have done it. It's just an everyday, day at a time life here in Jungle Land. First time ever that I'm doing this. This is my wife from Brazil, and so boom, we're celebrating life today. After 2 failed marriages, I stayed single for 30 years. Rosali was an air traffic controller for 25 years at the Rio de Janeiro airport. When I met her, I found out that our souls touched. When I came back to New York after being away 25 years, there was still an open void in my life. Besides working in the garment center for a textile company and going to play racquetball, I wanted something else. And what that something else was a boyhood craving to be an actor. I could have made class. I could have been a contender. May the Force be with you. I always wanted to do like the Jewish Godfather in Murder Incorporated. I'll make them an offer they can't refuse. Feel lucky, punk? Just go ahead, make my day. I felt like I could be very good in that. Or to be the bad guy. I've been the good guy, or bum. You talking to me? You talking to me? De Niro was one of the great ones. So being back in New York was an exciting beginning to enroll with Stella Adler and learn from the best. This here is the building that housed the Stella Adler Drama Academy. And she taught me punctuality because I was cast in 2 off-Broadway plays, and her message to yours truly was, when that curtain goes up, Double A, you be ready.
I don't know. I mean, thank you. What do you say?
Boom.
I stared at the back of the seat for the entire flight.
Good thing there was a TV there.
That's what I said.
Can you imagine how I felt in my first voiceover audition? And boom, I got it.
Well, folks, apparently people like JetBlue because JetBlue likes people.
I just want to give James Earl Jones a run for his money as the voice of God. What I'm doing now is I'm watching 2 of my future opponents that I have to face this afternoon. And I'm just watching to find a weak spot. It's like a prize fighter coming into the ring, and if you draw blood over the eye, concentrate on that bloody spot.
And if there's anyone who can find a weak spot in somebody's game, it's Double A.
I'm seeing that I have a tough road ahead of me.
What's the score?
6-3.
Glenn Smith, I don't know Glenn that well, but he has a warm smile, and can he handle a racket? Jeff West, a leading man, a man who has such a great passion for our sport. Ed Fink is a master craftsman.
He was nice to me.
Of guys from Mike Hurling to Mike Cohn to Seth Gerson.
I saw him play in the championship. Is that right, Dad?
Yeah, last year.
Championship last year, before, and the year before.
And what happened in those years?
You won.
Seth Farber is a world champion in so many ways. A father, a husband, and hey, can he be stopped?
We've gone on a number of tournaments and traveled together, and we've had so many just great times. He had a very special way of communicating what the bottom line is.
Kill shots.
Without even anybody really knowing that was really the bottom line.
God's gift is a miracle.
There's a couple of calming voices in everybody's life that when 20 or 30 people are yelling or talking, there's always one voice that we all sort of hear, that you just sort of say, wow, that really made sense to me.
Here I am still standing, and these kids, I'm telling them, I'm original dinosaur. I mean, I'm one of the first to play the sport.
But the message has always been the same. It's always been about quality. It's always been about straightforward and honesty and being your own spirit. I guess that would be the best way for me to ever describe Artie. Let your spirit come out. Let your spirit be who you are. There's just a kind of electricity or something that he has. Roger, I know you know it. You know what I'm talking about. We can't quite put our finger on it, but there it is.
Will someone help?
It's, you know what it is? It's the expressions, it's the tone,
and the history,
it's the delivery,
yeah.
it's the man, it's the composite of him, isn't it? It is what it is, you are.
You get back to the show me state, my love to everyone there.
Oh.
When you get into the semifinals, that's like the Kentucky Derby for me, because look who's coming down the stretch. The cream that comes to the very top.
You're gonna win, right?
Yes.
Come on.
Good luck, Seth.
Thank you.
Boom.
Good luck.
Thanks. You're a good sport.
You're gonna win, right? Okay, you're confident?
I am.
You have enough energy?
I do.
Okay.
21 points for the championship. Here we go.
Come on, Glenn, get it back, baby. Let's go. Match championship points. It's worth the price.
Springsteen calls it jungle land. It's true. But I love the challenge. And some people like Willie Loman quit. And I feel like I'm lucky to be blessed that I'm the opposite. I still love digging for the puck and not quitting, and to be able to do things that I have passions for. For me, one of the original dinosaurs in racquetball, to have these wonderful gunfighters come in from all over the country to do battle in the greatest city in the world, it's an honor for us to have him here. Sometimes when I'm with all these wonderful men in our tournament, women, I think of, my father's teachings about honesty. You have character above all, which he taught me. And when you put your head in the pillow at night, what a wonderful gift peace of mind is. And that's what I share with all my gunfighters.
You know who's on the program tonight? The former chairman of the Fed, and I have no idea what that means. Alan Greenspan.
Chairman of the Fed, whatever that means.
Whatever that means. Take a look at the reception, the folks waiting to greet Alan Greenspan outside on 53rd Street
Federal
early.
Reserve.
Watch this, look at that.
Look at her.
We're giving love in a family dose. We are family.
I was bar mitzvahed here.
As we walk on by, and we fly just like birds of a feather. I won't tell no lie.
This is my hangout, Jack.
All of the people around us, they say, can they be that close? Just let me state for the record, we're giving love in a family dose. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Sing it to me. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Living life is fun, and we've just begun.